game 1 here of a round of 32 game. And we have before us an awesome Protoss and a brilliant Zerg, spawning in the bottom left hand position as the blue Protoss player, representing Team Property. It is Mekar. And to the top right, his opponent, the green Zerg, representing Team Dignitas, Tefel. A lot of the bracket trying to catch each other up, trying to get through, and, well, this is always gonna be very exciting because round of 32 is where things really start getting tense. Obviously all of the qualifier is tense, but you're trying to get to that semi-final stage. The top 4 advance into WCS EU Challenger Season 2. And sure, there's other qualifiers, but when you start getting to the round of 32, you're like, guys, I'm fairly close. Like, I've got to win like 2 more games, and then I'm done. So that's like what, 2 more games? I can do that. I can do it, can I? Can I really? And then, as you get ever closer and closer, you see that prize, that light at the end of the tunnel. The glory, the chance, the opportunity. Only for the risk of at any stage it to be torn out of your hands, and you have to do it all over again tomorrow or the day after or the day after for your shot. It's tough, but I think any of the players now have a good chance of getting to it. So keeping a close eye on what these two are doing. As usual, Tefel opens spawning pool first. Going to expand out to the third base as well. Smart move, expanding out to this third. Do you know why? Because the third base is relatively easy for Tefel to hold. But also, if a scout comes through, unless it actually gets to the natural base, it's impossible to know whether your opponent's on 3 hatches or 2. And because the timing your scout, it could easily be either. So that adds a little bit of doubt into your opponent's mind, and never something that you really want to have to try and deal with. So for the moment, Tefel just opening the standard Tefel way, getting that gas. Meanwhile, Mekar playing it quite greedy. He went for a Nexus first opening into that spawning pool. Into that gateway. And yeah, this is pretty safe now. The wall-off's there in case Tefel was going for some early lings. But Tefel, while he is an aggressive player, isn't usually what I consider a cheesy player. He's quite happy just to sit back, at least early on, and chuck stuff out. But then once it starts getting into kind of more the mid-game, he'll go very aggressive, and then he'll drone off the back of that. Uses that very aggressive style to just try and buy himself a little bit more time to tech and get his economy going. So, mid-game builds, it's hard to really judge here. It's a big map, the biggest map in Starcraft 2 there's ever been in competitive games. And as a result, macro-orientated strategies generally run well. We're seeing that problem for Mekar start to appear though. He's like, okay, well Tefel's got a base here, and he's obviously got a main, but is there a natural? Has this been taken? Is this a 2-base Zerg or a 3-base Zerg? Because the difference is huge. If it's a 3-base Zerg, Mekar can say, okay, I am safe for now. My opponent's being greedy, maybe I'll try and be aggressive against them. Alternatively though, you've got to sit back and go, okay, if it's a 2-base Zerg, he could be about to try and kill me. I can't take a greedy third, that won't work. Mekar though, appears to be confident that he can take that third base. Putting the pylon down, and for the moment, Tefel can't really contest it. He's got 2 lings out. 2 lings are not going to be able to stop a Nexus from being created. The Mothership core alone is going to be able to stop that from happening. So this is looking quite good for Mekar. Chucks down that Nexus. 4 more lings on the way out for Tefel. The first 2 going to come and scout this, know the timing of it quite nicely. And that's really important for Tefel. He now knows what his opponent's doing. He adds in a couple more gases, actually going up to all 4 gases now. Not super quickly, but this could lead to an early lair timing. Tefel, of course, the god of Roach Hydra. He loves it. He is the prophet of that playstyle, and it may very well work out well for him. He's also done some cool muta stuff. I cast a lot of Tefel over the weekend because we were at the same LAN and I was casting it. And he got to the grand finals and he did some awesome stuff. There's the lair coming down. Meanwhile, Mekar, feeling quite safe at his third. He's walled off this cannon to make sure it's very safe. A sentry up at the main, preventing those speedlings from sneaking up in. But for the most part, both are going to be getting into their mid-game quite comfortably. Twilight Council is coming through now. And so, with that Twilight Council, we should be seeing actually just a very normal kind of timing. Blink should be coming down just as standard. Allow +2 to start as well from this Forge. It's only the single upgrades, but actually a big upgrade lead already starting to materialize for Mekar. With that Forge being chrono boosted, he's going to be able to keep it, especially if Tefel doesn't get a second evolution chamber down. And there's the Spire. Right on cue, hidden. Quite an awkward place to try and scout. And if he's playing the same way as he did at the weekend, he'll get down the +1 carapace from this evolution chamber. And there we go, right on cue. So this is a cool build Tefel did, and he had a huge amount of success with it. He did in the grand finals up against Harstem, and it was just an annihilation. Oh my goodness. It was an annihilation. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how Mekar tries to hold it. Tefel doing a good job keeping Lings and Overlords pretty much everywhere to see any move out from Mekar. Mekar, for the most part, though, just looking to be going for a bit of blink pressure, chrono boosting that blink out, adding in additional gateways. And this is going to be really helpful for him, because up against Mutas, if you've got Blink Stalkers, you're doing a good job, because, oh, that is lovely. That Scout is on the money. That Hallucinated Phoenix buying such valuable early information for the Protoss player. May even see a Stargate now come down. Phoenix production is the ultimate counter to Mutalisk on a Protoss side. So I'm insanely excited to see. But because of these gases that came up so early, and basically gas being spent nowhere else, 16 Mutalisks are on the way. These double Stargates are only just going to be done in time. I like this little play by Mekar, sending 2 Hallucinated Phoenix through. Just double checking, was the Spire cancelled? No. Okay, the Spire is definitely coming. Triple Stargate. I've got to get those Phoenix out ASAP. If I get them out quickly, I can possibly hold. The Blink Stalkers will buy some time as well. Sentry's surprisingly good with Guardian Shield up against Mutalisks. Also important. This is going to be a very tight hold. 16 Mutas are on the field. Mekar trying to get in a good spot. Photon Overcharge is going to play an important role. Blink is done. +2 is done. Where are the Mutalisks gunning for? Stargate's now finished up. Phoenix production on its way. The Stalker's already going for the natural base though. Undefended. Going to be a long way to get round there. And Tefel is finding a good number of kills here. Nice and early on. Down a lot of these probes go. Fun times. Down goes that Mothership Core. And that's a good pick-off. Getting the Mothership Core important, but both Photon Overcharges went through. So you actually regenerate the energy back quicker by rebuilding the Mothership Core as opposed to letting it come back up from 0. But it costs you resources. A lot of Lings ready for Tefel as well. If this army moves too far out, the third is exceptionally vulnerable to a move-in. The odd Mutalisk getting a bit out of position, but round come these Lings, and the Stalkers and Sentries aren't going to be good against that. They're not engaging the Mutas, which are going for the head-on fight. So many Sentries going down here. Mekar losing an awful lot of his gas-heavy units. The Phoenix trying to trade, and there's a good number of Phoenix here, but in a head-up fight, they won't do too well. They've got to be out-microing those Mutalisks, but that just isn't happening. Tefel is getting so much damage down. He's pushing it with some roaches. He's rallying more across the map. On the ground, he's doing a mighty good job, and because all of Mekar's resources are going into Phoenix to try and stop the Mutas, there's nothing to contend with these roaches. Mekar in a huge amount of problems now. Tefel showing this aggressive mid-game strategy and timing pushes he loves oh so much, and it's working incredibly well for him. It's going to take a lot in order for Tefel to lose this game. GG. Tefel wins game number 1 of this best of 3 and takes an early lead in the series.